I'm giving you guys the meta loadouts for every gun in Warzone right now. This is going to be the most updated Season 3 with Rebirth Island. So you guys are going to be able to go through this entire video, and any gun that you guys want, I'm going to put the chapters so you guys can skip through if you want to. I would greatly appreciate if you guys watch as much as possible, help with the algorithm, and if you guys want to show support, just say I made it. All right, so the first weapon we're going to start out with is the MCW. This is actually an amazing weapon for everybody. It's a fan favorite, and it's one of the first you unlock, so we're going to start with that. We're going to give you guys two versions, the long range and the SMG version. The SMG version is going to be first because I think it's more meta than the long range. So make sure you guys put on the Jack Raven kit. It helps with the rate of fire, mobility and handling, damage at close range, and hipfire and attack stance spread. Next, put on the 40 round mag. This is the best possible choice. I don't think that you should use 20, especially if you're playing Warzone. I think 40 is perfect, especially if you're playing Modern Warfare 3 as well. If you're playing Modern Warfare 3, I think you want as many bullets as possible, and there aren't many cons to it. Put on the Blackout high grain rounds for no enemy skulls, bullet velocity, and damage range. You do get an increase of recoil control, but it's not really a big deal. Mark III Reflector is my personal preference, but you guys can put on anything else. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a niter on here. If you guys want to put on the niter, then that's completely fine as well. But whatever you guys actually want to use, completely up to you. Last but not least, put on the 16.5 MCW Cyclone long barrel for bullet velocity and range, aiming out sway, and firing aim stability. Now you do lose some hip fire attack stance spread, aim walk speed, spread to fire speed. That's not a big deal. This thing is absolutely lethal at close range. Like, it really does get the job done. And honestly, it can do good at long range too, but that's not what this build is made for. As you guys see, there is a bit of recoil at long range, so just keep it at the close to medium range. You guys really will get the job done. Now here's for the long range. First thing you want to put on is the Cassis Break. This basically gives it 0 recoil. It helps with horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Next, put on the 16.5 MCW Cyclone long barrel for bullet velocity and range, aiming out sway, and firing aim stability. Put on the 5.56 NATO high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range. You do lose some recoil control, but trust me, this is going to have no recoil. 60 round drum. This is my personal opinion, the best possible choice. If you guys want to use the 40, completely up to you, but I think you want as many bullets as possible. And last but not least, the Choreo Eagle's Eye 2.5 times. This thing is absolutely lethal at all ranges. In my opinion, it has to be one of the best guns in the game in regards to recoil control. It's just absolutely a freak of nature. So make sure you guys have this build right here. It's so amazing for this MCW, and whatever version of it you guys want, long range or short range, they'll definitely be meta for you. Next is the meta BP50. Put on the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the Lore 9 Heavy Barrel for bullet velocity and range, gun kick control, recoil control, and firing aim stability. You do lose some hip fire attack stance spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. Not a big deal. Put on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability. You do lose some vertical recoil and aim down sight speed. 45 round mag because that's just the best overall choice. And the Moat 40 stock for gun kick control, aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, and recoil control at the cost of firing aim stability, sprint to fire speed, sprint speed, and movement speed. This thing is absolutely amazing. It really gets the job done very easily. It has basically no recoil. I know a lot of people are afraid to use it now because it recently got nerfed, but I honestly think it gets the job done still. So if you guys want to use it, be my guest. Here's the entire class right here. Please give it a try. I think you guys will actually love the BP50. I know that we're in a Renetti meta right now, and I will show you guys that class later, but this thing is absolutely amazing for solos. Next is the SVA 545, and I have an amazing build for you guys. Start out with the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Now, if you guys want the Cassis Break, that's fine too, and I'll show you guys how that looks later, but I think this is the best possible choice. We're on the STV Precision Barrel for aiming out sway, bullet velocity and range, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip fire attack stance spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. 60 round mag I think is the best possible choice. If you use 45, then I mean, I guess you'll have less cons and you have to weigh your options on that. I just don't think that it's really worth it to have less bullets. I think you want as many as possible, but here are the cons when you compare the two. And last but not least, Choreo Eagle's Eye 2.5 times. This thing is incredibly easy to use in my opinion. It has super low recoil. It just really gets the job done very easily. But I will show you guys the Choreo, well, not the Choreo, the Cassis Break version instead now. But here's the entire class setup silenced. I think you guys will love this and I think you'll prefer it. But if you guys want the Cassis Break, then we got to make our way all the way over until we get to Cassis Break. And now I'm going to show you guys how that works. So here's the Cassis Break. As you guys see, it really does not move either way. But whichever one you guys want, I chose the VT. But if you guys want the Cassis, feel free to use that. Next is the Ram 7, and this is still my favorite assault rifle in Warzone 3 right now. Throw on the Cass's brake for horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Throw on the Cronin Headwind Longbow for bullet velocity and range, aiming out of sway and firing aim stability at the cost of hip fire and attack stance spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. 60 round drum. I mean, this is just the best choice. Don't use the 40. I think that this is best overall. I don't think that you can get a better alternative. And last but not least, the HVS 3.4 pad for gun kick control and recoil control at the cost of sprint speed and sprint to fire speed. It's just not a big deal. This thing really does not move, and this is me playing like one of my first games on. It really does not move at all. It gets the job done very easily. So this is something that I highly recommend having in your class setup, just because no matter how much they try to nerf it, it's still going to be meta one way or another. So here's the entire class setup right here. I know some people, instead of the Cronin Headwind Longbow, like using the XRK Core Mark 40 heavy barrel. Some people, I guess, need more recoil control, but I think it already has enough. If you guys want to see how that looks, I'll throw it on there real quick. And this is basically how it functions with the Core Mark 40. I mean, I still think it's about the same. I guess technically it gives you more recoil control, but you are missing out on some bullet velocity. And I think that bullet velocity is absolutely key with this weapon. So whatever you guys want to do, be my guess. If you guys want to use the Core Mark 40, go ahead, but I'd rather use the Cronin Headwind Long Barrel. Next is the MTZ556, and I have basically two versions. I mean, one's with a reticle and one's without one. Throw on the Cass's brake for horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Next, put on the MTZ Clinch Pro Barrel for bullet velocity, damage range, aiming out sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of hip fire and attack stance spread and aim walking speed. Throw on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. 50 round drum, because it's just the best possible choice. There's honestly no middle ground, so you might as well have that. And last but not least, the Coral Eagle's Eye 2.5 time. And here's how beautiful this gun actually works with this build. It's actually an insanely good weapon. I feel like a lot of people kind of like dismiss this meta like right after like the initial update, but I want to show you guys just how good it is even without an optic. Like I said, here's the entire build with the optic, but if we were to take the optic off, throw on the MTZ Marauder if you really want to, you guys can throw it into the firing range, and this thing just literally does not move at all. It's absolutely insane. Like, I would say that this is on the level of the Ram for how much of a no recoil this thing has. It's absolutely beautiful. So please give it a try if you guys want to try something different than the Ram. So here's the entire build right here. MTZ Marauder stock, 50 round drum, Bruen Heavy Support Grip, Cass's brake, and MTZ Clinch Pro Barrel. Next is the Holger 556, and I know you guys absolutely love this gun right now. It's actually considered meta. They're on the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, and bullet velocity and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. They're on the Cheerios 6 batch for bullet velocity and range, recoil control, and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed, aiming out sway, and sprint to fire speed. Bruen Pivot Vertical Grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. 40 round mag because it's just the best possible choice. And the Jack Glassless Optic for the precision sight and the firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. This thing, in my opinion, is super easy to use, especially with this build. It's kind of like, it's almost impossible to have recoil. It's just an absolutely amazing build. So if you guys want this gun right here, please throw this class setup on there. I mean, if you guys want an alternative, you guys can throw on the Cass's brake. I just don't think that you guys need the Cass's brake for the Holger. It's already insanely good, but I guess I can show you guys the version that has the Cass's brake. Like I said, I just kind of feel like it's a waste of an attachment. So throw the Cass's brake on there, and as you guys see, it doesn't really move. Like, I think that VT7 is just the best possible choice, but if you guys want the Cass's brake, then here's the Cass's brake build right here. Next, we're moving on to battle rifles, and the first one is the SOA Subverter. Throw on the Cass's brake L for horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Next, throw on the Dozer 90 Longbow for bullet velocity and range, firing aim stability, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, aim walking steadiness, and aim down sight speed. Throw on the Motion V2 heavy stock for recoil control and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. 50 round drum because it's the best possible choice. If you want to use the 30, then go ahead. I just recommend 50. And last but not least, the Jack Glassless Optic for the precision sight and the firing aim stability. Now, you do lose some aim down sight speed, but you're not going to notice it. This weapon is super easy to use. Like, out of all the weapons in this game right now that I would consider meta, this thing is probably one of the easiest. So, just to show you guys again, it really is a heavy hitter. Pretty easy to control and gets the job done. So here's the entire class right here. If you guys want to copy it down, Please use this. I think you guys will absolutely love it. Next is the BAS B, and even though it's not the quote-unquote meta this season, I can still give you an amazing build that you can absolutely take off with. Start out with the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor L for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down, sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Then put on the Bruen Venom Longbow for bullet velocity and range, recoil control, aiming out of sway, and gun kick control at the cost of sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and sprint speed. Throw on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down, sight speed, and vertical recoil. 45 round mag because it's just the best possible choice. And last but not least, the coil equals eye 2.5 times. This entire build will definitely get the job done for you. If you guys didn't have a good build for this, this is definitely meta and will kill the fastest out of any other class setup. Next is the Sidewinder, and believe it or not, this actually is a meta weapon. Throw on the Tempest GH50 for gun kick control, vertical recoil, and horizontal recoil at the cost of aim down, sight speed, and aiming out of sway. Tempest Predator Precision Barrel for bullet velocity, recoil control, gun kick control, and aiming out of sway at the cost of movement speed, hip fire, and attack stand spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down, sight speed, and vertical recoil. 30 round drum because it's the best possible choice overall. And last but not least, the RB Borealis Grip for firing aim stability, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aiming out of sway. This thing is absolutely amazing. Like, the fact that it kills this fast is absolutely insane to me. And the recoil is honestly not bad. Like, I think that the recoil is extremely manageable. And I absolutely love using this gun. I've actually used it in one of my videos. Even though it didn't take off too well, I think that you guys would enjoy it. I got over 30 kills in it. So here's the entire class setup. I think you guys would enjoy it. Do not use the conversion kit. Please do not use a conversion kit. I know it seems like a good idea. It's just going to be way too fast. It's going to be messy. You guys are not going to like it. Trust me. Use this build right here and you guys will get the job done very easily. The MTZ762. This thing is absolutely deadly. Throw on the Cass's Break L for horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down, sight speed. Throw on the MTZ Precision Blackthorn Barrel for bullet velocity and range, aiming out of sway and firing aim stability at the cost of hip fire, attack stand spread, and aiming walking speed. Throw on the Bruen Pivot Vertical Grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down, sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. Make sure you guys have the 30 round mag on unless you guys were able to do the glitch that gave you 45 bullets. Then keep that on there, but if you guys don't, then the 30 round bag is your best choice. And the last thing, if you guys don't want an optic, is the EXF Close Quarters Grip for gun kick control and recoil control at the cost of aim down, sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. Now, if you guys do want an optic, all you guys have to do is take the last attachment off, but it is scary how much this thing does not move. It's an absolute freak of nature for a weapon, and I think you guys will absolutely love it. So please give it a try. I think it'll really get the job done. So here's the entire class setup right here. And like I said, if you guys do want an optic like the Eagle's Eye, then all you guys have to do is take off the EXF Close Quarters Assault Stock. Next is the SMGs, and I'm sure you'll love this one. I know everybody's been waiting for this SMG, so we're going to start out with the Renetti. Make sure you guys have the Jack Ferocity Carbine Kit for full auto, allows attack stance, bullet velocity, and range, which is the big thing, and aiming out of sway. You do lose some aim down, sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and sprint speed. Put on the Zemin 35 Compensated Flash Hider for shorter radar pings, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down, sight speed, and bullet velocity. Put on a 50 round drum because it's the best possible choice overall. Put on the Bruen Onslaught Assault Grip for firing aim stability, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aiming out of sway. And finally, put on the Niter Model 2023. This is my personal preference, but if you guys want to use an iron sight, be my guest. This is obviously the strongest SMG in the game right now. It's ridiculous how many people are actually using it. I mean, you can use it long range, but it's just the fact that people are absolutely shredding people in close and medium range with this weapon. So please, if you don't have this SMG, it's actually the Renetti. It's technically a pistol, but it's an SMG that everybody's using right now, and it's melting so quick. So please use this class setup before it gets nerfed. FJX Horus. Throw on the Sin 9 Longbow for bullet velocity and range, aiming out, sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of hip fire and attack stand spread, aim walk speed, and sprint to fire speed. Then put on the Sonic Suppressor S for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of aim walk and stay and sprint to fire speed and recoil control. Put on the Bruen Pivot Vertical Grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out, sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down, sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. 48 round mag is the best possible choice. And then put on the Lopper LXD stock for aiming out, sway, recoil control, gun kick control, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down, sight speed, aim walking speed, and movement speed. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This thing is really only amazing at super close range. Like, as you guys saw, like right there, it would be really good in Modern Warfare 3. But in Warzone, It's pretty decent at close range. At medium range is where it gets scary. I really don't recommend getting into gunfights in medium range because you're most likely going to lose unless you're an extremely skilled player. Keep the gunfights at seriously close range. You'll get the job done with this build. Here's the entire thing right here. And like I said, I highly recommend just keeping this in the close range gunfights. Like this basically feels like the Scorpion. Like if you guys played Black Ops 2, the Scorpion was amazing at close range. This does not have the range of the Scorpion at mid to long range though. Next is the RAM-9. Throw on the Zemin 35 compensated flash hider for shorter radar pings, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and bullet velocity. Next, put on the DR6 hand stop for aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed at the cost of hip fire attack stand spread and aim walking steadiness. 50 round mag, unless you think you can handle the 40 round mag. I mean, here's the differences. Technically, it's double for the handling, but I don't think it's really that bad. Whatever you guys want to do is completely up to you. Next, put on the Retort 90 grip tape for firing aim stability, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aiming out of sway. And last but not least, the HVS 3.4 pad for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, firing aim stability, and recoil control at the cost of movement speed, sprint speed, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. This thing really gets the job done very easily at short and medium range, but beyond that, I would be careful. I really would never get into a long range engagement with this weapon just because I feel like I would lose it. If you guys think you guys can handle a long range engagement with this weapon, be my guest. It's just not something I would do. So here's the entire build for the RAM-9. I know you guys will absolutely love it. It's a very easy weapon to use in close range engagements. I think you'll most likely win it if you're up against like an HRM or any other SMG. Next is the AMR9, and this is probably the best overall weapon. Like it gets the highest damage at all ranges. They're on the Nimbus 6 integrated suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Next, put on the X10 Phantom 5 hand stop for sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed, vertical recoil, and gun kick control at the cost of hip fire attack stand spread and horizontal recoil. 50 round mag is the best possible choice. I really don't recommend using 100. It's really heavy, and I don't really think that's worth it. Like you're losing so much mobility and handling versus the 50 round mag. Next, throw on the Wolfhound carbine stock for gun kick control and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed. And last but not least, this is my personal preference, put on the Niter model 2023 or any other optic that you guys want. This SMG is insanely good. Like there's no other way to wear it. This SMG is basically an AR. That's how it basically feels like. And as long as you can hit your shots, it's absolutely amazing. So make sure you guys have this build on there. I think you guys will absolutely love it. Here's the entire thing right here. Make sure you guys take a screenshot, picture, whatever you guys have to do. But the AMR9 is still one of the best hybrid SMGs you could possibly use. Here comes the Rival 9, and I really only recommend this in Modern Warfare 3, but if you guys really want this build for Warzone, I got you guys. They're on the Sonic Suppressor S for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity, and damage range at the cost of aim walking steadiness, sprint to fire speed, and recoil control. Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of vertical recoil and aim down sight speed. 50 round mag, unless you want to use the 40, I mean, technically you can. I mean, this is the difference. You do lose a whole lot in handling for 10 extra bullets, and then the mobility is doubled, so maybe 40 is the more ideal choice. Just know that you're going to have 10 less bullets. Rival Vice Assault Grip for gun kick control, firing aim stability, and recoil control at the cost of aiming out of sway. And last but not least, the MTZ Marauder Stock for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability. You do lose some aim, walking speed, movement speed, hip fire attack stand spread, and sprint to fire speed, but it's not a big deal. Now here's how this gun actually works. I think that it's pretty decent. I just don't think that it really wins gunfights in Warzone. Like I would recommend using the Modern Warfare 3 build if you guys are playing Modern Warfare 3 overall. If you guys are using Modern Warfare 3, then I'll give you guys the alternative right now just because I don't really see a reason for anyone to use this in Warzone, but if you guys want to use it in Warzone, here's the best possible build. But like I said before, if you guys are going to use it in Modern Warfare 3, here is the best possible build. The L4R flash hider, the 9mm high grain rounds, 40, Rival Vice Assault Grip, and MTZ Marauder. And if you guys want to make it more meta, just take off the 40 round mag and throw on the Bruen Pivot vertical grip. It'll make it even more meta than it already is. Now for the HRM-9, this is something that everybody's been waiting for. It's such an amazing SMG. They're on the Zemin 35 compensated flash hider for shorter radar pings, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and bullet velocity. Next, they're on the Thorn 90 Bro for hip fire attack stand spread, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and sprint speed at the cost of aiming out sway and recoil control. They're on the DR6 hand stop for aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed at the cost of hip fire attack stand spread and aim walking steadiness. 50 round drum because it's just the best possible choice. And last but not least, the folding stock for recoil control, gun kick control, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. This weapon is absolutely lethal. It has basically no recoil. It really does get the job done pretty easily. I would say it's even really good at long range as long as you guys are hitting your shots. If you guys aren't hitting your shots though, it's not going to look good. So make sure you guys are actually pretty accurate with this weapon. It's hard not to be. Here's the entire class right here. Make sure you guys take a screenshot picture, whatever you guys have to do. Next is the Striker 9, and I actually really enjoy using this SMG. They're on the Zemin 35 compensated flash hider for shorter radar pings, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and bullet velocity. They're on the Striker Elite Longbow for bullet velocity, aiming out sway, recoil control, and damage range at the cost of hip fire attack stance spread, movement speed, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. They're on the DR6 hand stop for aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed at the cost of hip fire attack stance spread, aim walking steadiness. 50 round drum is the best possible choice, but if you guys want the 40, then that's okay too. And then finally, the Lockman Recon Series stock for gun kick control, aiming out sway, and recoil control at the cost of hip fire attack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and sprint speed. Now this thing is amazing at short to medium range. I wouldn't really recommend it at super long range, just because I feel like long range kind of does get a little tricky. Like, you guys see, it is pretty easy to actually use, but some people don't have great accuracy with it. So if you guys want to use it long range, just make sure you guys have a really good shot. Otherwise, avoid that. So here's the entire build right here. Striker 9 is amazing. I mean, I really do highly recommend it. It's a super meta SMG right now, so be my guest to try it out. Striker for the SMGs. Throw on the Sonic Suppressor S for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity, and damage range at the cost of aim walking steadiness, sprint to fire speed, and recoil control. Throw on the Striker Recon Longbow for bullet velocity and range, and aiming out sway at the cost of hip fire attack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, and aim walking speed. Throw on the .45 auto high grain rounds for no enemy skulls, bullet velocity, and damage range at the cost of recoil control, which you're not going to notice. 48 round mag, because I noticed that's much better than the 60. There's just too many cons for the 60 and not as many for the 48. And finally, the RB Critalis Assault stock for gun kick control, firing aim stability, and aim down sight speed at the cost of hip fire attack stance spread, recoil control, and sprint to fire speed. This was something I would actually stick to the short to medium range unless you guys put on the Zemin 35, just because it actually kicks up a bit at long range. But if you guys threw on the Zemin 35, then what it would look at is actually kind of crazy. So Zemin 35 build, this thing basically doesn't move anymore. It was absolutely insane. Now long range, it's just, for some reason, this just doesn't hit the same way the Striker 9 does, but it still has way less recoil than the silence version does. So make sure you guys put this on there. Here's the entire build right here, but I really do highly recommend the silence build. I think that you guys will like it more, but this is the no recoil build right here. The Wasp 9 is one of my favorite SMGs in the game, and I think you guys will love this build. Throw on the Zemin 35 compensated flash hider for shorter radar pings, vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and bullet velocity. Put on the DR6 hand stop for aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed at the cost of hip fire attack stance spread, aim walking steadiness. Put on the 9mm high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control, which you will not notice. 40 round mag is the best possible choice in this situation. I've weighed the pros and cons for the 50 versus the 40, and the 40 is just a much better option. And finally, the Niter Model 2023. This is my preference, but if you guys want to use something else, go ahead. This SMG is so powerful. Like, I still think it's one of the best SMGs in the game right now. The only thing I'll be careful about is super long range. It kind of does bounce a whole lot with this build, so you kind of got to be careful with it. I do have a build that has even less recoil, and you guys will absolutely love that. It doesn't have the Niter Model 2023, but this is the best meta build, especially for short to medium range. I don't really see people using the SMGs for long range, which is why I prefer this one. But if you guys want the long range build, then here's one that you guys are going to absolutely love. Now, this Wasp 9 has zero recoil. I'm talking none whatsoever, and I'm going to show you guys right now. It's kind of crazy. So go into the firing range. This thing does not move. It literally does not move. Now, you guys are getting the muzzle flash, unfortunately, but as you guys see, like, the long range is absolutely nuts. Thing does not move at all. So if you guys want the zero recoil build right here, it just doesn't move. It's absolutely insane. You guys will love this Wasp 9. Next are the shotguns, and honestly, this is a kind of controversial take, but I really don't recommend shotguns in Warzone, but if you want them, then here you guys are. First is the Lockwood 680. Throw on the Bryson Choke for hip fire and attack stance spread and tighter pellet spread at the cost of recoil control and aim down sight speed. Lockwood Defender Heavy Longbow for tube, ammo capacity, recoil control, aiming out sway, and bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed, reload quickness, aim down sight speed, and sprint speed. If you guys really don't want that, then you guys honestly, you can get away with either the Hammer Forged or the Aggressor 712 short barrel. Point G3P04 for hip recoil control, hip fire attack stance spread, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of the laser being visible at hip. Sawed off mod for aim walking speed, movement speed, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of recoil control, aiming out sway, and flinch resistance, which does not matter for a shotgun. And last but not least, the Express Light Bolt for the rechambering speed and fire rate. This is the best possible choice for the Lockwood 680. I think you guys will love this build if you guys are trying to use a shotgun. First thing for the Haymaker, you're going to want to put on the Jack Mad Lift kit for the fire rate, magazine ammo capacity, damage range, and recoil control at the cost of the reload quickness and damage. Then put on the Crown Breaker choke for the hip fire and tack stance spread and tighter pellet spread. Trust me, this is a big thing right here. You get a reduction of recoil control and aim down sight speed, which will not matter for the shotgun. Throw on the Imperator Longbow for bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed. Throw on the Verdant Hook Box Laser for the close quarters combat accuracy while sliding, hip fire and tack stance spread, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of the laser being visible in ADS, which you most likely will not be ADSing this weapon. And last but not least, the no stock mod for sprint to fire speed, movement speed, aim walking speed, and aim down sight speed. Don't even pay attention to the cons because they do not matter for a shotgun. This is the best possible build for the Haymaker, and honestly, this is still meta, which is kind of insane. It's insane how good this weapon is, but I can't really show you guys in firing range because the targets are kind of too far, but this thing, when up close and personal, is just way too powerful. Finally, for the Riveter, throw on the Crown Breaker choke for hip fire and tack stance spread and tighter pellet spread at the cost of recoil control and aim down sight speed. Put on the SA Draven 20 Longbow for bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed. Put on the 30 round mag. I mean, it's just the best possible choice. Phantom Grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of flinch resistance. And finally, the Demo D50 Buffer Tube for sprint to fire speed, movement speed, aim walking speed, and aim down sight speed. There's really no point in showing this off in the firing range. You just hold your fire button and then it's just an absolute destruction at close range. Next are the LMGs, and I'm sure you guys are going to love these ones. They're super easy to use. The first one is the TAC Evolvere. Throw on the L4R flash hider for muzzle flash concealment, recoil control, and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed. Next, put on the LRF Righteous Longbow for bullet velocity and range, aiming out of sway, aim walking speed, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, hip fire and tack stance spread, and sprint speed. Put on the Bruen Pivot Vertical Grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the 100 round 5.56 belt for bullet velocity, recoil control, gun kick control, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of ammo reserve, damage, and damage range. Finally, put on the SA Kilo Nova stock for aiming out of sway and firing aim stability at the cost of aim walking speed and movement speed. This weapon is absolutely insane at basically all ranges. It doesn't take much effort to use overall, in my opinion. It's just a super easy and simple weapon to use. So if you guys want to try it out, please give it a try. It really gets the job done pretty easily. Here's the entire build right here, and I think you guys will love it. Now, if you guys don't want the L4R flash hider, and I don't know why you guys wouldn't, but if you guys don't want it, there really is an alternative. I mean, I would say there's a couple, but I think people would mainly want the Zemin 35. So if you guys do on the Zemin 35, here's the outcome. I mean, this one basically does not move at all. It's kind of insane how much this thing does not move. At long range, it still does wobble a little bit. So here's the entire build if you guys want that. Next is the Bruen MK9, and I know you guys love this LMG, so here's the best possible build for it. Throw in the BT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Next, put on the 23-inch XRK Horizon V2 for bullet velocity, gun kick control, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, and movement speed. Put on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. Put on the 60 round mag because this is just the best possible choice. Trust me, it helps with aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and reload quickness. And trust me, the reload really helps. Finally, put on the Jack Glassless Optic for the precision sight and the firing aim stability. You do lose some aim down sight speed, but with all the pros we just had, it does not matter. This weapon is honestly still one of my favorite weapons in the game. Despite whatever updates we've had, it's just absolutely lethal and it's so easy to use. And as you guys see, look how fast it absolutely reloads. So here is, in my opinion, the best LMG in the game right now. So please copy the class setup down, take a picture of whatever you guys have to do, because if you're not, you're missing out. The Pulemyot 762. I absolutely love this weapon. Make sure you guys have the Jack Annihilator Bullpup kit for the mobility and handling, rate of fire, hip fire, attack, stance spread, and aim down sight speed. You do lose some bullet velocity and range, damage range, and the weapon swap speed, but it's not a big deal. Trust me. They're on the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor L for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. They're on the Jack Annihilator Longbow for bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed and aiming out of sway. Put on the Bruen Heavy Support Grip for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. And finally, the Corio Equals Eye 2.5 times. This thing is absolutely insane. Like, it's such an easy weapon to use, and in my opinion, it's still insanely busted. But if you guys don't want this version, if you guys want even more recoil control, which I don't know how, but if you guys want more recoil control, then instead of the VT7 Spirit Fire Suppressor L, they just put on the Cassis Brake. I just think you're missing out on bullet velocity with that, and I haven't really seen anyone use the Cassis Brake with this, but If you guys did want to use the Cassis break, then there's the entire build right there. So here's the entire thing. Please try it out. I think you guys will love the Pulemyot 762. It's one of my favorite LMGs overall. Next is the DG58 LSW, and this was meta in the very beginning of the game, and I have a very good build for you guys. They're on the VT7 spare fire suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the Woody long barrel for aiming, idle sway, bullet velocity and range, recoil control, and gun kick control at the cost of hip fire and attack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and aim walking speed. Put on the Bruen heavy support grip for gun kick control, aiming, idle sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. Put on the recoil reduction butt plate for gun kick control and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. And finally, the Jack classless optic for the precision sight and firing aim stability. Now this weapon is honestly insane. It gets the job done pretty easily. I don't think it takes much effort in my opinion. So please give this a try. I think you guys will absolutely love this LMG. It's super powerful. I wouldn't mess with the conversion kit. Just stick with this and you guys will do great. Here we have the TAC Eradicator, and I think you guys will love this build. They're on the VT7 spare fire suppressor L for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking steadiness, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the Conquer 70 long barrel for aiming, idle sway, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of hip fire and attack stance spread, and aim walking speed. Put on the Bruen heavy support grip for gun kick control, aiming, idle sway, horizontal recoil, and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed and vertical recoil. Put on the 762 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range, and put on the TAC Vert core stock for gun kick control, firing aim stability, and recoil control at the cost of sprint to fire speed, hip fire and attack stance spread, and sprint speed. The TAC Eradicator is actually an amazing weapon, at least when you initially fire it. But the downside is after you initially fire it, you kind of have to reload to get that like first initial bullet effect. It's kind of crazy, but if you guys do get the first initial bullets, they are going to be hectic and they are very powerful. So here's the entire thing right here. So as long as you guys are just reloading nonstop, then I mean, it's basically meta. Here's the final LMG, the Holger 26. Start out with the Cassis break for horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Put on the Holger factory barrel for bullet velocity and range, recoil control, and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. Put on the 5.56 NATO high grain rounds of bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control. Put on the Jack glassless optic for the precision sight and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. And finally, put on the Ascent Lord stock for aiming, idle sway, recoil control, gun kick control, and firing aim stability. You do lose sprint to fire speed, crouch movement speed, and aim walk speed. But as you guys saw, this thing is absolutely lethal. I think it's the best possible build for it. So if you guys want to use this weapon, please use this class setup right here. Now it's time for the marksman rifles. Start out with the CAST 7 integrated suppressor for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Put on the Jack classless optic for the precision sight picture and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Put on the Avanov Woodstock for the aim down sight speed, firing aim stability, movement speed, and sprint speed at the cost of recoil control, gun kick control, and aiming idle sway. 20 round mag is the best possible choice overall. Finally, the Bruen pivot vertical grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming idle sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. This thing is crazy. Like, it really is. It's basically like a 4 or 5 shot, well, actually, no, a 4 shot kill from every single range, which is absolutely incredible to me. So make sure you guys have this on there. It's a very useful weapon that not many people know about, so please give this a try, and I know you guys will love it. Next is the MCW 6.8. First thing you want to put on is the MCW 6.8 full auto conversion for the full auto fire, magazine ammo capacity, aim walking speed, and tactical sprint speed. Now you do lose some damage, but trust me, it's not a big deal. Put on the Cassis break L for horizontal recoil and firing aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Put on the MCW Crown 30 barrel for gun kick control, aiming out of sway, bullet velocity and range, and firing aim stability at the cost of hipfire attack stance spread, aim walking speed, movement speed, and aim down sight speed. Put on the Bruen pivot vertical grip for gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. And finally, put on the RB Critalis assault stock for recoil control and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed. Basically, we had to make this a very powerful recoil build because this weapon's already powerful enough. And I am a little bit scared to do like the long range engagements, but as you guys see, they are still very powerful. So in my opinion, this is basically like the Sidewinder in regards to strength, but it's fully auto. So, well, both of them are fully auto, but this is just basically another Sidewinder. It's very powerful. So here's the entire build right here. Make sure you guys have the conversion kit so you guys can have a great time with this weapon. With the DM56, I honestly say this isn't an optimal weapon to use just because I had to do a lot to make this meta. And honestly, it's still not great long range. It's good at short to medium range. So put on the jack signal burst for the bullet velocity, gun kick control, recoil control, and hip fire attack stance spread at the cost of sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Put on the T51R for the vertical recoil, firing, aim stability, and gun kick control at the cost of horizontal recoil and bullet velocity and range. Put on the Bruen pivot vertical grip for the gun kick control, vertical recoil, aiming out of sway and firing, aim stability at the cost of horizontal recoil, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed. Put on the Holger recoil pad for recoil control and gun kick control at the cost of aim down sight speed. Finally, put on the jack glasses optic for the precision sight and firing, aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. And you'll see right here, it's like awesome. It's great at short and medium range, but like I'm kind of scared to show you guys long range. Like, look, see how much it just jumps at long range? It's really not optimal at all. Like, short, medium range, cool. If you guys wanted to use something for fun, then this is something that you guys could use. But overall, this build is just for short to medium range, and it's really not ideal for long range unless you take off the jack signal burst. Finally, the MTZ Interceptor. Throw on the VT7 spare fire suppressor L for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking stainless, and sprint to fire speed. Throw on the MTZ Blackthorn barrel for bullet velocity and range and aiming out its way at the cost of hip fire and attack stance spread, aim walking speed, and sprint to fire speed. 7.62 high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control. 20 round mag because it's really the only choice you have. And then the Coriolis equals eyes 2.5 times. This thing is still very easy to use. I mean, it does bounce a little bit, but it's very lethal at all ranges. So I don't think it's meta anymore. I mean, like, I think it's powerful, obviously, but I think there are just other choices that you actually can use. Now, it can two-shot, which is kind of ridiculous, but that's only if you hit 2 headshots in a row. And if you hit 2 headshots in a row, you're considered pretty lucky. But here's the entire build right here. If you guys want to use it, be my guest. It's just not something that I would use anymore. I mean, it is amazing if you guys like marksman rifles. Don't get me wrong, but there are just so many other choices. And finally, the sniper rifles. XRK Stalker is an amazing sniper, and I have to give you guys the best possible build. Throw in the VT7 Spiritfire Suppressor XL for being undetectable by the radar, recoil control, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed, and aim walking steadiness. Put on the Fission 60 barrel for the bullet velocity and range, aiming out of sway, and firing aim stability at the cost of hip fire spread, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and aim walking speed. 50 cal high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control. SL Razorhawk laser light for aim walking steadiness, tack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed at the cost of the flashlight and laser being visible in ADS. And finally, the nose stock for aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and aim walking speed. This build right here is absolutely lethal, and I think you guys will love using this. Next is the beautiful Moores sniper rifle. On the ton heavy barrel for bullet velocity, aiming out of sway, aim walking steadiness at the cost of aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, sprint to fire speed, and movement speed. Put on the HVP anti-material slug for damage at the cost of bullet velocity. Unless you guys don't think you need it, then you can take it off. Put on the SL Razorhawk laser light for the aim walking steadiness, tack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of the flashlight and laser being visible in ADS. Put on the Superlight 90 stock for sprint to fire speed, movement speed, aim walking speed, and hip fire spread at the cost of gun kick control, recoil control, aiming out of sway, and flinch resistance. And finally, put on the quick bolt for rechambering speed. This sniper is absolutely lethal, and I see everybody using it in Rebirth Island right now, so you guys need to be using it too. Next, we're on the KATT AMR, and this is obviously the one-shot sniper, which is absolutely insane at any range. Put on the Sonic Suppressor XL for being undetectable by the radar, bullet velocity, and range at the cost of sprint to fire speed, aim walking steadiness, and recoil control. Put on the Zeng 34 barrel for damage range and bullet velocity at the cost of aiming out of sway and sprint to fire speed. Put on the 50 cal high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control. Put on the SL Razorhawk laser light for aim walking steadiness, tack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed at the cost of the flashlight and laser being visible in ADS. And finally, put on the tactical stock pad for aim down sight speed. This sniper is absolutely lethal. I think a lot of people use it in big map, and I think you guys will love it if you guys make this class setup right here. The longbow is absolutely insane, but not for the reason that you guys think. Go on the FSS OV laser for the aiming stability, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed at the cost of the laser being visible in ADS. Now, if you guys don't want to use that, you guys can actually use the SL Razorhawk laser light, but it's just different reasons for actually using this. Like, this helps with the aiming stability a whole lot versus this helps with the aim walking steadiness, tack stance spread, sprint to fire speed, and aim down sight speed. I mean, they're both amazing, and they both get the job done pretty easily, but I think the OV laser is the more optimal choice. So on the high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control, 10 round mag just for the aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, aim walking speed. Like, you'll be able to actually move pretty quick. Plus, for this weapon right here, you're not going to need a whole lot of bullets, and you'll see why very soon. Put on the Knot Z3 grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of gun kick control and recoil control. Finally, put on the Jack glassless optic for the precision sight picture and firing aim stability. Now, this thing is absolutely insane. Like I said, I didn't think you guys would know the reason at first, but this doesn't take many bullets to kill. 2 bullets at close range, 2 bullets at medium range, and 3 bullets at long range is absolutely insane and more than enough to get the job done. So here's the longbow build. I think you guys will love using it. I don't use it with a like actual sniper scope because you guys won't have as much fun. This is the build you guys want to use right here, basically using it as a marksman rifle. Finally, the KV Inhibitor, and I don't think you guys realize just how powerful this sniper is as a marksman rifle. The first thing you want to put on is the Moore's dot sight. Trust me, just trust me. Just leave it at that. Trust me, Moore's dot sight. Next, put on the FSS OLV laser for aiming stability, aim down sight speed, and sprint fire speed at the cost of the laser being visible in ADS, which is not a big deal. Put on the ZLR Bulwark precision stock for aiming out, sway, gun kick control, firing, aim stability, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, movement speed, aim walking speed. Put on the 338 Magnum high grain rounds for bullet velocity and damage range at the cost of recoil control. And finally, put on the Cassis Break L for horizontal recoil, firing, aim stability at the cost of aim down sight speed. Now let me show you guys this magic. 2 bullet. 2 bullet, 2 bullet. This weapon right here is honestly one of the most slept on weapons in the game right now, and nobody realizes how good this is. So if you guys did use any of these class setups, let me know in the comment section down below which one helped you the most. And I'm going to be live on Kick, so I would greatly appreciate it if you guys came through. If this video can get like 1,000 likes for covering every single class setup, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. Also, I want to hook some of you guys up with some COD points, so if you guys can tell me the rank of this skin, I will shout some of you guys out and hook some of you guys up.